Who was Tom Riddle? Really? Was he always destined to become Lord Voldemort, or did he become that monster over time? Was he born broken, or shaped that way by the world around him? Because when you strip away the Dark Lord title, the Death Eaters, the fear, what you're left with is a boy, a very clever, very lonely boy, who learned early on that love was something other people had. And to understand Voldemort, you have to understand Tom Riddle. If you enjoy videos like this, deep dives into Harry Potter characters, hidden motivations, and dark unanswered questions, then this is the channel for you. There should be a subscribe button somewhere on your screen. If that's your thing, tap it now. And let's dive deeper. Tom Riddle's story doesn't begin with magic. It begins in a London orphanage, sometime in the winter of 1926. We learn in Half-Blood Prince that his mother, Merope Gaunt, arrived at Wool's orphanage already weak, already defeated. She named her son after his father, Tom Riddle, and after her own father, Marvolo. And then, shortly after giving birth, she was gone. Tom never knew her. He never heard her voice. He never felt wanted. And what's important here, what Dumbledore himself points out, is that Tom was conceived under the influence of a love potion. That detail matters, because it means Tom's very existence begins without genuine love. And while Rowling is careful never to say this caused his darkness, it absolutely frames it. From a very young age, Tom was different. In the orphanage, he didn't cry for attention. He didn't attach himself to caregivers. He watched. Dumbledore tells Harry that other children were afraid of him, and not without reason. Tom stole from them, hurt them, took pleasure in controlling them. He could make things happen without touching them. He could speak to snakes. And more disturbingly, he liked knowing he was different. Not special in a warm way. Special in a separate way. By the time Dumbledore visits him at age 11, Tom already believes two things very firmly. One, he is not like other people. Two, that makes him better. And when Dumbledore tells him he's a wizard, Tom doesn't react with disbelief or joy. He reacts with confirmation. He already knew. At Hogwarts, Tom Riddle flourished. Sorted into Slytherin, he immediately felt a sense of belonging. Not friendship, but legacy. He was clever, charming, impeccably polite. Teachers admired him, students followed him. Slughorn adored him, later admitting in Half-Blood Prince that he collected Tom like a prized jewel. And this is crucial. Tom learned early how to wear a mask. He helped teachers. He followed rules. Publicly, he asked the right questions. But privately, he was already obsessed with power, heritage, and immortality. It's during his school years that Tom discovers his connection to Salazar Slytherin, the Chamber of Secrets, the Basilisk, Parseltongue. These weren't curiosities to him, they were proof. Proof that he mattered. Proof that blood mattered. Proof that Hogwarts belonged to him. In Chamber of Secrets, through the diary, we see exactly how calculated he was, framing Hagrid, unleashing the basilisk, and watching students panic while he remained the perfect prefect. And then there's the question that defines everything he becomes. What happens after death? While other students worried about exams, Tom Riddle was already researching Horcruxes, magic so dark it repulsed Slughorn when Tom asked about it. And notice how he asks, calmly, casually, as if discussing theory. By the time he leaves Hogwarts, Tom Riddle has already decided one thing. He will never be ordinary, and he will never be vulnerable. After school, he works at Borgin and Burke's, not because he needs the job, but because it gives him access to dark artifacts and wealthy pureblood families. This is where he refines his charm, his manipulation, his ability to read people and take what he needs. And this is also where he begins collecting objects tied to Hogwarts founders, not sentimentally, but symbolically. He wants history, legacy, permanence. This is also the period when Tom Riddle becomes Voldemort. He sheds his name, an anagram he despises, and replaces it with something feared, something mythic, something untouchable. And here's the important part. People don't follow Voldemort because he's loud. They follow him because he seems inevitable. Over the years, Voldemort builds his following slowly, carefully. Death Eaters are not recruited randomly, they're selected, bound by fear, ideology, or ambition. He offers them meaning, superiority, protection. But behind it all is fear of one thing: death. Everything Voldemort does, the Horcruxes, the secrecy, the cruelty, comes back to this. He doesn't just want power, he wants certainty. And yet, despite all his planning, Voldemort makes the same mistake over and over again. He underestimates love, he underestimates loyalty, he underestimates the things he never had. If you're enjoying this so far, do give the video a like. It really helps me keep making these deep dives and lets us explore these characters properly. By the time Voldemort hears the prophecy, he's already fractured his soul beyond repair. And the irony here is brutal. In trying to prevent his downfall, he creates it. Because by choosing to target Harry Potter, he returns to the same mistake he made as a child, assuming that power is the only thing that matters. When Voldemort falls for the first time, his body is destroyed, but his soul fragments remain. And what's left of him becomes less human with every passing year. When he returns, he's no longer charming, no longer subtle. He rules through terror alone. And that's the tragedy of Tom Riddle. He had brilliance, he had opportunity, he had intelligence that could have rivaled Dumbledore. But he chose fear over connection, control over trust, immortality over meaning. In the end, Voldemort doesn't lose because he's weak. He loses because he never understood what made other people strong. Tom Riddle wanted to live forever, but in rejecting love, he ensured that nothing of him would ever truly last.